Hi, I'm Eric. I filmed my phone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be discussing Demi Lovato's newest record, Dancing with the Devil, The Art of Starting Over. And I'm very excited to talk about this record. Reasons why I'm not going to be reacting to it is one, because it's a very long record. There's 19 songs on it. And while a lot of the songs are on the shorter side to make it, still under an hour, I didn't want to rush such an important record in Demi's discography, thinking about how they really put their heart and soul into this, and it's about a lot of serious events in their lives. And yeah, I felt like it would be better to actually listen to the album by myself a couple times and then actually give my thoughts about it, rather than trying to get everything on one listen and create a reaction video that felt rushed at certain times, because my phone does not, take up a lot of space. It does not have a lot of storage to handle a really long, raw video, especially to then export it and all that. So I really wanted to actually give my thoughts that were more educated and didn't end up discounting what their message was. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I know I'm a couple months late, but I really, again, with classes and stuff like that, it's something I wanted to take the time to listen to and understand the gravity of their situation and just understand what they were going through in the past couple of years. So I'm going to be going track by track down about what my thoughts are, and then having some closing thoughts at the end, much like I do on a normal reaction, but we're just gonna be the chatting part of today. Also, just some content warnings. I will be talking regularly about Demi's struggles with mental health, with drugs, eating disorders, etc. So if any of that is something that you're sensitive to, just be warned that those will be talking about, especially on the tracks that regularly mention that, if you already know. I also want to disclaimer that I'm not perfect, and I will be doing my best to always catch myself when I use the wrong pronouns for Demi. They use they, them, theirs. And so I don't want to mistake it and get the wrong pronouns, but I am human. I might not catch myself in the moment. And so if there's any references to other pronouns that Demi may have had in the past, just know in advance that I am going to try my best. I will be retaping stuff in the moment, if I find myself stumbling, but I might not catch it all in the editing process. And so I just want you to be aware of that. Thank you for requesting this video, and anyway, let's get into it. Our first track was Anyone, a song I had heard when it came out, and it's still beautiful. It still is haunting. It's still so moving and emotional. It's the perfect track to start off the record, because really, Demi's asking I need someone, and this was recorded a few days before their overdose, and that must have been a lot for them, to really put their heart and soul into a demo. I think this is still the demo recording. The original version that is sent out is a demo, and it's just them singing along to the piano production. I don't know if it had already been created or whatever, but it was so raw, and it really showcases that Demi is one of the leading vocalists of my generation, at least. I think it's wild, Miley and Demi were both discovered via Disney, and while Disney did not do great things to them, they did a great job at scouting two of the best vocalists, that I can think of. Miley, you already know, Plastic Hearts, icon. But Demi, can hold their own in terms of singing. They can belt out so much, they have such a beautiful voice. And I think it really showcases on this song, Anyone, which the live performance sounds exactly like the studio recording. And so it's clear that there's not really an audio tune going on there. It's really just them really just showing off the raw talent. And it's beautiful. It's definitely is something that's haunting to start off the record and gets you thinking, oh shoot, what are we going to be in for? The second track is Dancing with the Devil, a song I had heard prior to listening to this album start to finish, because it was released a few weeks before. And again, haunting. It's like anyone, but it's very much like if you add some more production to it and, you know, make it even more haunting, really. Because, like, wow, I can just hear it playing in my head right now. I was dance. I don't know why I tried doing that. It was not a good idea. Like, forget that happened, because I can't replicate Demi's voice if I tried. Like, it's a beautiful song, and I think it really captures what they were going through when they were, like, at that really, like, low point in their lives, and how they were really, like, dancing with the devil, gambling with their soul, and, like, you know, leading to that near fatal overdose. Like, we almost lost them, and that would have been horrible. And I'm glad that Demi's still here, and I'm really glad that we get to hear what their next chapter is. Dancing with the Devil, really, like, I have no notes on it. I don't think I have notes on anyone either. Like, those two songs are just, like, saying those are pure songs that are just, like, really, like, showcasing their talent totally. Like, I don't really have any notes. Like, I really like both of them. And even though, like, they're startling and jarring, like, I mean, that's really what Demi was going through. I have not watched the docuseries talking about their, like, struggles and their journey in terms of that, but it's something that's on my list to do. If you want me to do reactions to those, I'm more than happy to do so. So next we have ICU, or Madison's Lullaby. Dang, they're really trying to get us in our feels. Like, wow, 3 songs in a row. Like, I'm glad that this record does turn into a later note later, because wow, like, these 3 songs, like, get you. Like, they get you. And this is, like, you know, piano, much like anyone, but, like, it's really, like, them trying to tell Madison, like, how much they care about them. And I think Madison was trying to go see Demi when they were in, like, the ER, and I think they weren't allowed to, and so, like, that's so unfortunate. Like, that must be horrible, like, to see someone you care so much about, like, struggling, and you're not allowed to be by their side. Yeah, that's, like, a lot. And Demi's talking about how they want to be a good example for Madison, and, like, how Madison probably, like, looks up to them, and, like, you know, they want to really, you know, show them how to live. And, like, dang, heavy topics definitely starting off this record. And really, the I love you and the I love you too at the end, like that really, if that didn't make you start, like, feeling emotions, like, that really will send it into overdrive. I will say I didn't technically cry, but also my tear ducts don't really work regularly unless I have allergies, which I do. But, like, I was feeling the emotions of crying without actually crying. The next track was the intro into The Art of Starting Over. And, like, I wonder, like, in the construction of this record, like, is Dancing with the Devil, like, an EP that, like, is supposed to, like, then lead into this next chapter? Because it's not really a double album, because I wouldn't say 3 songs is an album. But, like, yeah, I just wonder, because, you know, an intro, and I guess it's kind of like a prologue, like, EP, and, like, I enjoyed that part of the record, and I enjoy, you know, the second half too, but, like, it's very interesting to have the intro there. The intro is, you know, chilling. It's Demi, you know, talking directly to us about, you know, like, them not being able to reach anyone while dancing with the devil, and now, like, they're taking us on a journey, and that this is the art of starting over. It's not a track that I'm probably going to listen to outside of the record, because it's 30 seconds spoken word and really just prepping us for it. But, like, I think it's a track that I keep in mind when they say we're going on a journey, like, trying to understand the journey and the rest of the album, and seeing if I agree that it's, like, actually, like, a, you know, a coherent journey. Next we get into The Art of Starting Over, the second title track of the record, And I love this song. I really do. It's chill. It's not trying to do much. Like, it's just a chill little bop. Like I'm mastering the art of starting over. I've made mistakes. But it's not necessarily just about like her grave mistakes. It might be like, oh, I just didn't enjoy last night that much. And she's like, I guess I'm starting over. And like, it's a happy little bop. Like, it's a chill bop, I think, to like listen to when you're feeling down or you feel like you needed to turn over a new leaf. And like, it's also self-love. Like, thank God I have me to hold me. And like, yeah, I just really like the song. No notes on it. Like, it's a chill bop. Is it like something that's like challenging with her voice? Like, no. And I think that's something that I see repeated throughout the second half of this record, or at least the art of starting over section of the record, is that like we don't get Demi, you know, belting as much. And that's okay. Like, I don't need them to belt that much, but it's really nice to like, you know, see that they can really both have that raw talent, but also they can make a chill bop that doesn't need to show raw vocal talent because like they want to, and they can make a song that they just really enjoy. Next we go out into Lonely People, and I think this one like tracks nicely after the art of starting over because like they're still living that single life and they're like, we're all lonely people. And I think making their experience universal is nice. I think that's, I feel like, how I feel about the second half of this record as well, is that we get much more of Demi making songs that, while they might be inspired by their own personal events, like, we also are getting songs that, like, we can personally relate to as audience members, that, like, you know, as listeners, we might not have gone through, you know, a near fatal overdose, but we really can relate to, you know, being lonely in the club, or like we need to start over, we had mistakes that we've made. And I think that's really nice, is that this album, while very personal to Demi, is also a album that we can really just also vibe with and dance to. Next we get into The Way You Don't Look at Me, which is probably the first song that I get a little confused about, if I would be honest, is that I love the song sonically. Like, the song, it's a chill vibe, matches, you know, sonicness of the album. Like, it definitely, like, is cohesive with the rest of the record. But, like, the messaging is very interesting. Like, I think it's an interesting message and like a relatable message to be like, oh, I wish you weren't as selective. Like, I wish you would look at me and like, you know, be interested in me, but that's not the case. And like, yeah, I like the song sonically a lot. Lyrically is my issue. And the issue is more not that you can't like be like, oh, I wish you would look at me. It's more of the, this is worse than me trying to go to hell and back, or me getting so close to heaven, as in like almost like not being alive anymore. Yeah, like it's a lot. And I think, I don't want to gatekeep or anything like what Demi is allowed to sing about, but like I feel like it downplays the gravity of the situation that they were in, rather than, you know, emphasizing how like hurt they feel regarding like the person not looking at them. Yeah, I guess my issue is more so like them, and you know, we have a fan base, and them not like, you know, saying, hey, don't go down my path. Whereas like someone could, I think they'd be very misguided, and like it might be a little bit of stretch, but like they might think, oh, like natural disasters, like overdoses and that kind of thing, those severe things, they aren't that severe if like, you know, your crush not liking you back. And like, I mean, I guess that's a very like I don't know. I think it's more of either that's a mindset that's very like teenagery and like high schooly, or it's like one that's like, I don't know, it just feels like a little dangerous, like for them to be talking about. I don't know. It feels like different if I like said that and I was talking about like a little illness that I had that like made me feel like I had been struggling for a long time. But like I haven't gotten that close to like not living. And the fact that like Demi has, and like it was directly referencing that in the song, like it just rubs me the wrong way. And like it makes me want to put the song in not really my thing, even if like every part of the song otherwise like is really good. I really like it sonically. And even like, yeah, a lot of the lyrical choices, like if it wasn't like for Demi's like personal background, like I think I would enjoy the song. So I have to think about that one a little bit more because I don't want to unfairly like say, oh, Demi can't sing about that. But if I had that song like for any other artist and they sang it and they didn't have that, you know, traumatic background, like I think I would have been okay with it. So that's something I need to personally like think about more rather than me saying, oh, Demi, that was the bad song. Next we go into Melon Cake, and I really like that song. It's about like them dealing with eating struggles, and I think some of it's with niche lyrics like true story stuff, and I guess that makes it much more personal for them. But like, yeah, I really enjoyed the song. It's just a fun bop saying no more melon cakes on birthdays. Like, no, you're gonna get a real cake on a birthday. Like, you don't have to like, you know, starve yourself. And like I think it deals with some stuff that they dealt with in the industry, and like, you know, like trying to keep them Barbie sized or trying to keep them like, you know, starving and like, you know, for looks or appearances. And like, yeah, it's just not healthy. It's not a sustainable thing, and it's going to cause a lot of mental health issues in the future, and it has for them. And so I really like it. It's definitely like just a fun little like dance track, and I think like again, it's sonically it's not trying to do too much, and I'm okay with that because it's a chill bop. Definitely reminds me a lot of the title track for Artist Starting Over, and like, yeah, an enjoyable time. Next we get into Met Him Last Night. This is like the first song I definitely like don't really vibe to. I think sonically, at least the first time I heard it and like didn't change much on my second listen, like it feels very like there's a lot going on at once, but and like in ways that I can't figure out like what's going on at any time. Like sometimes I couldn't even understand their vocals. Like Ariana Grande's vocals are very layered on, and so I can't even tell who's singing sometimes. Like it sometimes just doesn't flow as nicely. Like I would like to, and this is just my humble opinion, but I think that often when Ariana Grande releases a song or an album, that we have to like love each and every song, and that each song needs to be like considered amazing and like really like fan boy, fan girl, fan person over it. And like that's just not where I'm at. Like I really love Ariana Grande, don't get me wrong. Like she's been in my top 5 like artists streamed on Spotify in 2020 and 2019. So like you're not talking to someone who hates like Ariana Grande by any means. But like I think there's a temptation often when she's on a song or she wrote a song or something that it is like absolutely one of the best songs ever written, and I just don't see that here. Like I know that the song is getting pushed for like single, I think, which makes sense because like any song that's released by Ariana Grande is going to do well. I also know that there is a remix that came out, and I'm very excited to listen to that because maybe it will fix some of the issues I have. But I don't vibe with it sonically, and lyrically it feels like something that like would have been pushed too earlier in the record, like before the intro, because like it seems pretty much to be about like, you know, meeting the devil and like, oh, he's all right, and like it's tempting. But I don't know, maybe it's not about actually like the devil, and it's more about like just like this guy that's trouble for you. but like, I don't know, I just don't really vibe with the song. Like, it's not a song I relate to of like falling for the bad guy, the devil, or whatever. And like, I think it makes light of the other song that's about the devil on here, of Dancing with the Devil. And while I guess that Demi does need to like have a coping mechanism to deal with their traumatic past, like of, you know, making light of some really serious situations that they've been through, like, I don't know, I think it's gonna still rub me the wrong way personally. Like, it's just not the vibe for me. Like, I don't vibe with the song sonically, I don't vibe with it lyrically. So yeah, it's not one I'm going to listen to regularly. The next song, track number 10, so halfway through the really long, 19 tracks of the album, is What Other People Say. I listened to this song when it came out as a single prior to the album's release. This features Sam Fischer as well. And I liked it at the time, and I don't now. I think I got over it. I think it's not anything unique. And, like, that's unfortunate. Like, I think this song in particular is just, like, eh. Like, it's about, falling from grace and just, like, getting, like, messed up and, feeling like you've ruined yourself out in LA. Which is just, like, a song, like, message that I've heard before and I don't really care about. Like, I don't want to say I don't care about it. That's, like, incorrect. But, like, I'm not interested in it. Like, I have never been to LA. I don't relate to it. Like, it's about, like, this, like, disillusionment about, like, partying and, like, like, drugs and just, like, dealing with that. And while I think that's, like, something that's going to be related much to Demi, like, it's not something that relates to me, and it's not something that's told in a way that's compelling for me to, like, feel that. Like, there's a little bit, like, the mom, like, calling and saying your love's never far away, like, that kind of vibe. Like, I was like, okay, like, I relate to that, and I think that's why I liked it originally. I think that was, like, really, like, saving it for me. And, like, Sam and Demi both, like, vocalize really great on this record, too. But, like, it's just not really, like, for me. And I feel like, again, it's something that, like, should have been prior to the intro and the art starting over. Because, like, it feels like the same type of, like, badness that they were feeling at the time. And I get that relapsing is going to be a part of it, that there are going to be those types of struggles that they go through. But, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it feels oddly placed on the record for me. And I think also just the I care more about what other people say is just not a message that I care about. Like, I don't think I really care that much about what other people say in terms of something that would, lead me down that road. Like, if it leads me to being a better person or, like, being very sensitive to other people, like, I can see that. But, like, for me personally, it's just not a message I relate to, like, being messed up in LA or, like, caring so much about what other people say that you lead to some really bad and unhealthy decisions. Like, I don't see that really happening for me. Our 11th track is Carefully, and this starts a really good run on the album. Like, this is when the album, like, other than the beginning, which I really do love, like, this is, like, getting a second wind and, like, a second, like, oomph. And I really love how it starts with Carefully. Like, Carefully is so beautiful. It's about, how they want to be loved and how they want to be cared for. And it's just so, like, beautiful. It's such a good time. I really enjoy it. Like, it gives me some, like, traces of, like, 2000s. And, that's when we first met Demi, at least when I first met Demi. I mean, I even saw them in concert with the Jonas Brothers. So, like, I've been down that road. And, like, I really, really enjoy this song. Like, it makes me feel empowered. It makes me feel like I can sing this to someone and, like, they can care about me and they'll handle me carefully. And, like, yeah, I think it's a beautiful song. I think it works really well with the message of the album. And, like, it's just overall a song I'm definitely going to be returning to multiple times on the album. Next we go into the kind of lover I am, and I like this song too. Like, it's not as strong as Carefully, but it's definitely not something that loses my attention. It's not something that like detracts from the album at all. I think it works really well in tandem with Carefully, because like Carefully is all about the way they want to be loved and like handle me carefully. And then track number 12, The Kind of Lover I Am, is detailing what kind of lover they are. And like I love the like representation on there of the, you know, doesn't matter you're a woman or a man. Like, love that. Like, personally felt relatable there. And I think it was nice to hear them, you know, especially like now that we know that we're both, they are non-binary as well as they are pansexual. And I just love that. Like, it's beautiful, like, for them to have that art starting over, and like them being able to feel comfortable enough to share that with the general public. It definitely feels like a mission statement, like, to show what kind of lover they are, and like actually like, you know, share how they feel and like how they love when they're in a relationship. I also deeply love the part at the end. Like, it's so randomly auto-tuned for like no reason, and I just love it. You gotta, or what? And I'm like, also the fact that they use WAP in that, like, funny as heck. Like, I love that. And yeah, I really enjoyed like this song. Like, one thing that I do critique about it is that it sounds nearly identical to the artist starting over, like that song. Like, and I feel like there were songs that were in similar keys like before, like in between those two set songs, but like this, I feel like it travels immediately into starting over. I'm trying to sing one, I end up singing the other, like, and I don't know why that is. Like, especially like considering that, like, hey, you already have a long album, you have two songs that sound really similar, like maybe you shouldn't have both. But like, I also like both of the songs, so I'm not like really that mad about it. Next we get into Easy, and this is why I say that it's really a strong run, because both Carefully is so amazing, and then also Easy is so good. Thank you, Noah Cyrus. I fully appreciate you, because wow, that's a collaboration that I didn't know I needed, but I did need. I don't even listen to Noah Cyrus that much at all, but like, they both did amazing on this record. Like, this song was so good. Like, this is the closest I actually got to crying, because it was relatable and it was sad. And it was like, I'm taking all my souvenirs, and the hardest part of leaving is to make it look so easy. Like, that you're not like sad to leave, or you're not like ashamed to leave, or like feeling like regretful. Like, it was relatable. It was definitely a mood. And oh, I'm getting emotions just thinking about it right now. It's so beautiful. Like, Demi brings back a little bit of their belting, and it's just so good. I really enjoy it. And yeah, so yeah, I really enjoyed this song in particular. Like, I don't really have that much to say, except for like, I love this song. Stream it so much. I already know it's going to be underrated as heck. So like, this and Carefully, like, they should get more streams already. I already know that. And so, like, please send it some love. Track number 14 is 15 Minutes, and this is a beautiful song. I believe this song is about like her ex-fiance, who like apparently like seemed like he only was really interested in getting those 15 minutes of fame. And I kind of like noted that, like, when I was listening to the song, like, I didn't really keep track of Demi's relationships over the past couple of years, because I know that there's been several, or at least several that like Demi was spotted with, or rumored to be with. But like, apparently Max was really only interested in 15 minutes of fame, and like, you were looking for 15 minutes, and now you have 15 minutes to get your stuff and leave. And especially if Max moved away after they ended things, like, it's gonna be tight getting everything out in 15 minutes. It's a song that definitely reminds me of an Irreplaceable from Beyonce, and like, it definitely, feels like a song that Demi, like, has made songs that are similar to in theme, but it connects more to their personal life now. And I'm really glad for them to, state their case and, really sing from the heart. Our 15th track is My Girlfriends Are My Boyfriend featuring Saweetie. And I didn't really like this song at the beginning. Like, the first listen, I was like, like, it's very much a rah rah, women are better than men vibe. And while I'm like, all power to you, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be listening to the song that much, like, as a guy. And that, like, I was like, you have your fun. But then I was like, oh, it kind of became a bop. I think Saweetie makes the track a lot better. Like, I think it makes it more unique. Like, I haven't really listened to much Saweetie in the past. And so I'm really glad that I listened to Saweetie here. And I think it makes the song more fun. I think it's, like, again, it's a song that's not trying to do too much. Like, it's a theme that I think we've heard on other songs before. I don't think it's, like, changing much of the narrative. I don't think it's, expanding much. But, if it's a song that Demi wants to bop to and Demi wants to make so that they can bop to it, like, all power to them. Track number 16 is California Sober, and this relates to a term in which apparently, like, it's a lifestyle in which, like, you do, like, some marijuana, like, in exchange for not doing, like, alcohol or other hard drugs, so that you can still be, like, medicated or, have still, like, a slightly altered state, but, like, without getting into, like, really dangerous territory. And, like, I think that's what Demi's saying, like, their new, like, type of vibe is. I think that's something that comes up in the docuseries. That's what I've heard. And so, like, I feel like it's a declaration of, forgiving themselves for not being able to strictly adhere to a completely sober vibe and allowing them to, still partake in activities that, like, make them feel, like, good without getting to a really dangerous, area. Like, definitely don't relapse into where they've been. I've heard also that Demi actually does drink a little bit, and that some California sober people, like, do that a little bit, just in moderation, not to the point of intoxication or drunkenness at least. And so, like, I appreciate their honesty in saying where they are in their recovery, like, where they're at in their lives in terms of that, because that's definitely something that's, like, weighed down on them for a while. And I think, like, hearing, like, them say it and, like, singing in a pretty, like, happy or at least content way, like, how they're feeling, like, it was nice to hear. It was, like, a really, like, an update from the Dancing with the Devil part, because a lot of the art of starting over, talks about relationships and other stuff that was not as deeply related to, the stuff that had happened before. Track number 17 is Mad World, which is a cover, I believe, from Tears for Fears. I'll check on that. And I don't get why it's here. It feels very much like a Dancing with the Devil part. Like, it does not feel like Art Starting Over. And it's really interesting because it's a song that, like, if you're from my generation and you, like, were on the internet, like, a few years ago, like, on Vine, like, the original is, like, vined to oblivion. It's probably on TikTok, too. And so, like, a song that very much is something that we've heard from the original artist. It's very interesting that Demi chose to put that on the record. And, like, I think it seems very much like early Dancing with the Devil. Like, it doesn't seem like they're in a good place when they're singing this. And, like, it's really haunting. I don't really vibe with it because I don't really vibe with covers being put on full albums. Like, it's just not the vibe for me. Like, sometimes it's good, but, like, if you've seen my other reactions when I talk about, like, cover songs at the end, like, I just don't vibe with them. I don't know why I don't vibe with them. I think it's just, like, it doesn't feel, like, in place on the album because, like, they didn't record the song originally for the album, Like, they didn't make a brand new song thinking, oh, this is going to go on this album. Like, they just made a cover and were like, this feels right. And I think it would be right if you put it like Dancing with the Devil versus like The Art of Starting Over, because it seems like it's a dark song. It's a really depressing and dark song, and I don't get why it's towards the end of this record where we're supposed to be feeling happy or at least like grateful or like some sort of like resolutions happening. Next we get into Butterfly, and this is a beautiful song. Apparently it's about like their biological father passing away on an unknown date, like because they just found him like in his home like a week probably after it happened, and like they don't really understand cause of death or anything like that, so there's a lot of uncertainties. And so it's like, I believe Demi's comparing him to like a butterfly like in the sky, like a guardian butterfly, like as a guardian angel, and like really reflecting on that. And it seems like they've gone through the hurt, like they got sad about June before because it would always come too soon, but now they're not really worried about that anymore. So it seems like they've become at peace with that, and that's really good for them. That's also a growth thing that I think is really important, and it's a story I didn't really know about, and so I'm really glad that I heard about it, because I think it's really important to like think about that Demi's gone through much more than just their overdose. Like they've gone through media, they've just gone through personal health and personal family stuff, and like relationships and all that. So I'm really appreciative that they shown a little bit of feeling about that. I don't know if they've covered that topic before. Like I haven't really deep dived into previous albums from Demi. Like I've listened to all of them like multiple times, but I didn't really like analyze lyrics or anything like that. So I wonder if that's something that's been talked about, because it happened, I believe, in 2013. So like there could have been stuff that happened like Confident or Telling Me You Love Me. And then the last song on the standard edition, I'm only really cover the standard edition because I feel like deluxe and expanded like would get in the way of the overall narrative. So Good Place is how we end, and it's a beautiful song saying they're in a good place, pretty much. Like kind of like the conclusion we probably expected we were gonna get. Like ballad, like very much, wow, okay, so you're in a good place. Like you haven't like fully grown, you're still working on it. Like you've dealt with a lot of struggles, but you're in a good place now. They're stable, they're doing all right, and I'm really glad to hear that. Like Demi has been on my mind the past few years, and so I'm really glad to hear that they're doing all right. Like they're doing okay, they're still working on the stuff. It seems like as of recently, with coming out twice in the past couple months, like that they still have growing left to do, and like a new chapter awaits, and I'm very excited to see how it all folds out. And I'm really thinking that they're probably also really excited to see how it all folds out. With that, we finished the record, and my thoughts are, I really liked this. I was glad to hear a bunch of songs from Demi. Like I haven't heard, Demi's voice like for more than like a single in a long time. And they did a lot of singles in 2020. And like if you go to the deluxe edition or the expanded edition, like you'll get some of those. And I think it's interesting that those weren't included on the record, because they really could have fit. Like I Love Me really would have fit like as a part of the puzzle rather than a tacked on piece. Still Have Me, like those types of songs. Like I feel like they had some of the opportunities to really add some other songs to their project, and like the gold and the platinum and that kind of stuff that had like happened with those songs, like could have extended to the album as a whole. But like it's Demi's decision what makes the record and what it doesn't. That said, I am very intrigued on why this album is the way it is. Like I feel like there's some songs in the journey of The Art of Starting Over that really could fit into Dancing with the Devil. I feel like this could have been a double album, and I don't know if it's labeled as such a double album, but I feel like it's more of a double album, like if you move some songs around. Like I don't want to say, oh, I know better than Demi for what the track listing should be, but like Met Him Last Night, What Other People Say, like Mad World, if you wanted to include this cover on this record. Like, these songs very much should be like a Dancing with the Devil, which would make that section longer, which would make the artist starting over shorter, and then you'd have, you know, like 2 chunks of the record. And I think that might just make it more cohesive on this later end. Like, I think the start of this record is very strong. Like, anyone, Dancing with the Devil, Madison's Lullaby, like, wow, like, boom, like, all those songs hit. And you could have put those other songs there, and they probably would have hit more than if you have them later in the project, because it kind of disrupts the narrative. Like, I feel like we're on a weird journey, and, like, I don't know. I think this album could also be more compact by, like, not having as many tracks. Like, I'm not trying to say that, like, some of these tracks are unnecessary, but, like, they kind of are. Like, even songs that I like My Girlfriends Are My Boyfriend, or, like, I feel like California Sober and Good Place could really be one song, because I feel like it, you know, tells us where they're at. And, like, I don't know, like, the Met Him Last Night, I feel like, I know that Ariana and Grande gave it to Demi as, like, a gift, and so I get that it's on the record for that reason, but, like, it doesn't really fit with the whole vibe. And also the, you know, The Way You Don't Look at Me, like, again, like, a song that, like, sure, it's, like, pretty, but, like, I don't think it really takes us on the journey that, like, Demi really, like, proclaimed in the intro. And, like, also even what other people say about, like, that's Sam Fischer's, like, has first name credits on that. And so, like, is that really, like, Demi's song, or is it a song that Demi's really featured on? Which, like, I don't know. I feel like whenever that happens, like, it's just because a song did well, and then they're like, okay, I want it to count for my record. Like, I think that happened, like, when Dua Lipa did the Moonlight edition of, like, Future Nostalgia and added Prisoner to it. Like, that's definitely Miley Cyrus first. It's not a Dua Lipa song. So, like, yeah, it's just weird for me to see, like, oh, so you're including songs that, like, weren't really your main song. Also, sorry if I seem a little stuffy all of a sudden. Like, I started sneezing a bunch of times just a second ago, so. But I think overall, I really like this project. I think especially it tells, like, a story, and, like, kind of just paints the picture of where Demi is at, where they were, and where they're hoping to be. I don't know actually as much about where they're hoping to be. I think that stuff is really led up to, like, in just news post this album, like, coming out as pan, coming out also as non-binary, and using they, them. Like, I think, like, there's a lot more growing that they still have in their works, and I'm really excited to see what their next project is. I feel like this album feels more like a, let's just, like, tell a little bit of a story, but also, like, here's some songs to let you know that, hey, I am still kicking. I still have some good vocal chops. Like, I have, like, a pen and paper, and I'm going to write some music. Like, I think it's a good time, but it's definitely not, like, something that I think is as cohesive as I think I originally envisioned it was going to be. I think my overall thoughts regarding, like, these filler songs, and, like, even if I like the song, like, it might not fit, or even the parts that really don't fit. Like, I think, like, Demi might have an album that's more digestible and more widely received. Like, I don't know how it's been in terms of records and, like, you know, charting, and I have no idea about, like, reviews or anything like that. But, like, I think this album could be condensed, and it would be a stronger record and much more compelling record than it is in its current state. I'm going to actually drop, like, a little screen saying, like, what I might put as the record, and, like, in terms of, like, actually, like, how to make this a cohesive narrative. But, like, it's, again, it's Demi's decision. It's their album. And, like, you know, there might be songs on there that are really important for them. And so I don't want to really, like, say, oh, this is how it has to be, or these songs don't matter, because, like, it's not my art. I'm not the artist. With that said, here are some of my favorites. So the top tier are the songs I love from the record, the songs I'm going to be playing over and over. The top tier songs in the middle are songs that I like. I'm going to add them to my playlist, but they might not be the top of the top. And then songs at the bottom are just not really my thing. Doesn't mean they're a bad song. Doesn't mean they can't be your favorite song. Just means it's not for me, and maybe that was like a stylistic decision. Maybe it's just something I like didn't really vibe with, and that's okay. We can have different opinions. Like, Demi doesn't make music for me. If you like this video, please like it. Just comment down below what you'd like me to react or listen to next. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already and you'd like to be. And thanks for watching. This is TurtleStormer. Catch you later.
It's storming turtles from out of the sky. Turtles don't need to know why. Smile big. Oh.